That's right. Van Halen. David Lee Roth versus Sammy Hagar. This is a video that no one has ever asked me to do. No one ever thought, hey, I wonder what BSR thinks about this. I just thought I'd do it. And the reason I'm doing it is because I feel like I have an interesting take on this. And I've seen people ask this question in social media before as a conversation starter. David versus Sammy. People of my generation ask that question a lot because we saw it happen. And, a lot of people are either a Sammy Hagar person or a David Lee Roth person when it comes to Van Halen. So I would give my take on it, and unlike many opinions on social media, mine was pretty well received. People would say, hey, you know what? I never thought of it like that. Or, you know what? I agree. I like what you're saying here. So for some reason, I don't even know why, this morning I thought it would be a great idea to make a dedicated post to my take on David versus Sammy. I'm going to read it to you. David needed Van Halen, and Van Halen needed David. Is he the best singer? No. But he had an interesting voice, and I dig that. He is a fantastic songwriter as well. The music they did together was like nothing any of us had ever heard before. And, that is something that you had to be there to experience. I remember when I first heard Van Halen, when it first came out on the radio in LA, it blew my mind. I'd never heard anything like that before. The production, the sound, the voice, the guitar, nothing. It was very unique. It has aged very well and still sounds fresh today. By far my favorite lineup of the band. David Lee Roth with Van Halen, to me, is Van Halen. But wait, there's more. However, I love Sammy Hagar. He's actually a really good singer, songwriter, and guitar player as well. Van Halen needed Sammy, but I don't believe Sammy needed Van Halen. Sammy was doing just fine on his own before he joined the band. The music they did together didn't sound new. In fact, to me, it sounds just like what Sammy was already doing before Van Halen. So, Sammy Hagar with Van Halen always felt more like it should have been Sammy Hagar featuring Van Halen. Now, I didn't talk about any of the other band members. Eddie, rest in peace, Alex, Michael Anthony, and none of the other singers that came along. I don't even know who they are. And it's not because they were bad or anything else. They just aren't on my radar, nor did anything pop up where I felt like I needed to know what they were. By that time, I had moved on musically and was listening to other things. But I don't think it's a matter of who's better. I think it's a matter of what are they? It's like the wrong question. Who's better, David or Sammy? Forget that. What were their roles and how were they unique? So we're talking about the original four, right? And they came up together, and David contributed a lot to that. More so than I think Eddie wanted to acknowledge. And, Sammy walked into the band. He was already an established rock star. In fact, the VOA album did very well mainstream-wise. But there are other things, too. He did the song Heavy Metal from the movie Heavy Metal, the title track. The 3 Lock Box album was really cool. Tracks like Fall in Love Again. Of course, Your Love Is Driving Me Crazy. There were a lot of really good songs that he did. And any of those songs, if you listen to those early Sammy Hagar songs, pre-Van Halen, they could have very easily been Van Halen songs. You can almost hear Michael Anthony, singing along with Sammy in the choruses of those songs. All they're missing is an Eddie Van Halen guitar solo in there, in the break, So, yeah, when Sammy joined the band, it almost felt like the evolution of Sammy Hagar, and not necessarily the evolution of Van Halen, if that makes any sense. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it was unfortunate to try to compare what the original four with David Lee Roth did to what Sammy and the boys did. Not fair at all. Now, David Lee Roth's solo career wasn't nearly as successful as his time with Van Halen. And that's why I had said originally, David needed Van Halen, and Van Halen needed David, because I believe that's true. In fact, I might go as far to say that the Van Halen brothers and Michael Anthony would have been wonderful studio musicians or session musicians. I don't know if they'd have broke out without a frontman like David Lee Roth. And I understand that Van Halen evolved with Sammy Hagar, and they did different things and in different keys and all that. And that's cool. But man, I mean, they had a really good thing going with the original frontman of that band, who, you know, was the right thing for MTV. He had the right attitude. And like I said, he wasn't a great singer. He was a great writer, had a lot of attitude. And, you know, sometimes it's all about attitude. And in that case, it totally was. It wasn't how he sounded, as how he said things and how he enunciated things and how he wrote things. You could really hear it. And, you know, somebody in the comment section had said something about the personalities of these two guys. You know, David Lee Roth's personality versus Sammy Hagar's personality. You know, and Sammy Hagar, everything I've ever seen him in an interview or anything else, he just seems like a really good guy. I would love to be his friend. I would let him in my house anytime. He's a cool, down-to-earth, just grounded, humble guy, you know? Good dude. I don't know if I'd open my door for David Lee Roth. He's a little insane. But I think he's an insane genius. You know how they say it's not what you say, it's how you say it? I don't think David Lee Roth necessarily says things in a very eloquent way sometimes. He comes off as boastful or as some kind of egomaniac or just a jerk. But if you can get past how he's saying things and listen to what he's saying and what he's talking about, man, there's some nuggets in there. Every time I hear an interview with him, I got to get past that because he does weird stuff. You know, one thing that I notice is he laughs at his own jokes and no one else is laughing at them, but he's laughing hysterically at his own jokes. It's a thing with him. I don't know. It's his personality. And when he was young, it was cute. You know, when you get old and you're kind of a little different like that, it's not as cute. You're just like the crazy old guy. You know, the crazy young guy's cool because he's dangerous and fun. Crazy old guy is just you know, the crazy old guy, which unfortunately is kind of, I think, how a lot of people see David. And yeah, because he's not as eloquent as some, and he doesn't word things quite as well as he should sometimes, he comes off as a jerk. But I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a smart guy. I think he did some brilliant things with that band. Without him, they wouldn't be here. Something interesting about David Lee Roth that you may not know is that he's actually like a big disco EDM guy. He loves dance music, you know. So that was kind of his influence in the band, was kind of that flavor, believe it or not. In fact, I saw an interview with him a while back where he was talking about, you know, to this day he rides his bike, like really late at night. He'll ride his bike to a club. You know, like a bag on his bike with his clothes in it. Like he changes his clothes into his clubbing clothes, tips the door guy to watch his bike, and he goes in and like dances to EDM all night long. He's that kind of guy. He's into that kind of stuff. Where, you know, Sammy Hagar, before he was in Van Halen, they called him the Red Rocker. He's a rocker, you know? And I think that the influences of the Van Halen brothers and Michael Anthony leaned toward rock as well, where it was different with David. And that may or may not have made a difference. Is one better than the other? I don't believe so. They're just different, you know? And being a Sammy Hagar fan, yeah, cool stuff that he did with Van Halen, but to call it Van Halen, that was a little weird to me. But anyway, that's my vlog. And I'm welcoming your comments and your take on this as well. Please leave them in the comment section. What do you think? I got a gig tomorrow, so maybe we'll do a video about that. I don't know. We'll see. Until then, we'll see you next time. I appreciate you so much for watching. If you could hit the like button, I'd really appreciate it too. Say something. Subscribe if you haven't. I appreciate you. practice, and enjoy.